Hey guys, Luke from TonicPow here. We're going to go over in this video a high-level overview of why it is that you would want to advertise with TonicPow, what kind of sets the platform apart from something that you might be used to, and some of the cool features that you might not know about. First things first, this is kind of what campaigns look like. This is the homepage. We've got a whole bunch of campaigns here. So this is what it looks like. You have a campaign here. Let's say a promoter wants to share this campaign. They would sign in, do something like this, and this is their custom short link, and this is what a share link would look like on Twitter. What is the difference between this and doing like a Facebook ad or something like that? Well, probably the biggest difference is most of those platforms are relying on ad targeting on a very heavy level. So they are doing things like tracking, cookies and watching what websites you visit and trying to guess about what sorts of things you might be interested in. TonicPow takes a totally different approach. I think we realize that people really dislike being sort of watched. That's why it's very popular for people to use ad blockers and all this sort of a thing. They really consider it sort of a nuisance. We take a different approach. Instead of targeting directly, we rely on promoters for targeting. So it's a passive system for targeting that doesn't require us to gather any information on you or know very much about the visitors or anything like that. The way it works is we simply create a marketplace. You create a campaign, it shows up here on the list or through the search, and if a promoter sees a campaign that they like, that they think is relevant to their audience and has the right incentives in terms of like click payouts and also these bonus payouts that they can earn, they're more likely to go ahead and share that campaign. So now on to some of the features that are more interesting and make this something pretty special. So the biggest thing really is this bonus payout system. Now, everybody knows who's in advertising, a lot of times you kind of throw money at ads and it's a bit like a black hole. You sort of have this giant budget, you put a bunch of money in there, sure you get a bunch of traffic, and generally you get maybe like 1% of people might convert or something like that. Well, we've got some tools here that could make a huge difference in the way that all plays out for your company depending on what you're doing. What you could do, for example, is you could have a campaign with a very low click payout or none at all and only have conversion goals. And what this means is a promoter only will get paid when an action that actually really benefits you as a company or your bottom line, such as maybe a user sign up, a mailing list sign up, watching some video to completion, or any number of things. The best thing that you could possibly do is tie it to an actual purchase. This way, there's literally no way that anybody could game the system or write bots to kind of drain your account or any of that sort of stuff. If you do this based on conversion goals, it's 100% safe and you only actually pay for what you use. In order to do that, that's kind of a little bit more complex of a process than simply creating a PPC campaign. Anybody can make a campaign, assign a pay-per-click rate, and fund the campaign, and you're off and running and you're done. You never had to leave the TonicPow website, and that's all just going to work fine. And that's great for getting visitors to your site, and it actually works, it works pretty well. But you're going to have much, much better results if you integrate the bonus goals or the conversion goals. The way you do that, it takes a little bit more effort and involvement, and we've got a lot of information down here in the guides about how to do that. You create an advertiser account, you create an application right from TonicPow, and then you get yourself an API key. Then you can verify the domain ownership. Once you've got that stuff started, you can go to docs.tonicpow.com, read through the API documentation, and there's all sorts of stuff that you can do with this API. It's got a lot of functionality. So once you have a campaign, then you would create conversion goals and set those up, and then what you need to do is fire a conversion. So I'll really quickly kind of go through how that works. So looking at any one of these campaigns here, so let's take the Zero Comps campaign. If we copy this link, you'll see what this looks like here. You'll notice what happens when I click this. Now it's not going to pay me because I'm also the promoter, and the system knows not to pay out. Somebody can't just click their own links like this. But when you go here, it does that little redirect page for a second, and then what you end up with is this TonicPow session up in the header. So in order to fire conversion goals, the only thing that you actually need is you need to collect this on the visitor's entry, And then whenever a purchase is made, you send a create conversion. What I typically do is create conversion by name. And create conversion by name, you send in the session and you send in the goal name that you set up when you create your various bonus goals, such as maybe the goal name is like, make a purchase or something like that. So you send in which goal you're converting and the session ID, and it will convert that goal. Some more options that come into play if you're doing some of the other setups, but all that is documented here. And one really important thing to mention on this front is that we have these official libraries. So if you're building anything with a Go backend or a Node.js backend, we do have official packages for these languages that give a whole bunch of detail, and there's examples in here and all sorts of stuff, listing referrals and all this stuff. There's lots and lots of examples in here. So we kind of went off into the dev rabbit hole there for a minute, but I just kind of wanted to explain for anybody who's actually wanting to do this, point them in the right direction, show them how to do that. Another thing to mention on this point is if you do have WordPress, we do have a WordPress plugin that lets you do this without writing any code at all. We will be adding more plugins. There's more in the works, and really hope to have something for Shopify pretty soon and some of the most popular platforms out there. So hopefully you can create campaigns in the most effective way with these bonus goals and really get the benefits of TonicPow. Although most of these, they're just single target, pay-per-click, and they can be shared anywhere in the world, and anybody sharing from anywhere, and the visitor can be from anywhere, and it will pay. There's another way to do this too. Say you're a brick and mortar shop and you are in a certain country. It really doesn't make sense to create an advertisement campaign on TonicPow, or at least it didn't, until we added a new feature that lets you localize campaigns. So what you can do now is when you create a campaign, actually go to the guide here and see if there's a little spot mentioning this. There we go. You can set visitor restrictions now on campaigns and say, we're only paying for traffic from these specific countries. There are a couple features that we can enable for you. You have to contact us right now. Eventually that'll be much more accessible and laid out with pricing and things, but right now we're giving really good pricing on this stuff because we're just getting started and ironing out all the kinks with it. Two major features. One is private campaigns, and the other is custom domain short link URLs. When I copy or share a campaign here and paste this, you see this is a tpow.app URL. You can actually register your own short link domain for your campaigns so that they're well branded. So when promoters go to share your link around, they'll see your custom domain name here instead of tpow.app. Another one is private campaigns. Right now, by default, any campaign that you create, whether it's via the API or it's right through the web interface, they're going to show up in the TonicPow catalog on the website and be available in the search, and also be available in like the list requests and things that other people are making from the API calls to our API. All of the campaigns will show in there, but for certain purposes, you might not want that to be the case. Let's say that you built an app and you basically want to gamify your app and offer incentives for different actions within your app, but you only want to offer those incentives because maybe they're high payouts, or maybe you only want to offer them to certain customers or something like that. You might not want them to show in the catalog at all, and you might want to just share them with specific people, so that's where private campaigns come into play, or unlisted campaigns. With this feature, you'll see on the campaign creation form, you'll be able to check a little box and say, this is an unlisted campaign, and if you do that, it won't show in the catalog, it won't show in API results, but you can still create conversion goals on that campaign and build this into your interface and have a whole gamified application that seems like it's not using anything external. It looks like it's all baked into your app, but you didn't have to set up any wallets, you didn't have to do anything crazy. All of it just sort of works, and you can really improve engagement. It's amazing what this does to really increase engagement and get people to follow through with the flows that you've set up within your product. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary. So until next time, thanks for checking out the video, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.